you ever spend your whole Sunday prepping meals, swearing you'll never do it again because of the mess and overwhelm it comes with? You are not alone. In my practice, I see the same 5 mistakes derail even the most motivated meal preppers. Today, I'm sharing how to avoid them and why a well-planned buffet-style meal prep can save your sanity. By the end, you'll know exactly how to plan and prep balanced meals that can last all week, and you'll be able to get a free downloadable checklist to set you up for success and avoid these common 5 mistakes. The first and most common mistake is underestimating time. If you meal prep and run short on time, you either end up with half-cooked or half-made dishes, often frustrated and exhausted. So unfortunately, blocking 1-2 hours won't cut it if you're cooking for a whole week, especially if you're just starting meal prepping. Meal prep is time consuming, and it's okay to spend 3-4 hours per session if you're cooking for a week, because the truth is you'll save much more time in the end, and it also saves you energy and that constant worry, what am I going to eat for dinner? So thinking realistically is super important, and it might sound obvious, but it is where we start. So how to fix this? Carve out the time you need. If you're making a week's worth of meals during a weekend, I would say 3-4 hours is quite realistic. And that's not including grocery shopping. So ideally, grocery shopping is one day and then meal prep is a different day. Of course, cooking time will also depend on the complexity of the recipes and whether you multitask or not. And of course, it's the amount of recipes that you pick and you want to cook, but we'll go to that later. But if 3-4 hours is too much for you to find all at once, you can split it in 2 meal prep sessions. Another big thing that can be super helpful is reaching out for help. If possible, ask your partner or a roommate, and no help is small. Doing the dishes is valuable too, trust me. Today I do 70% of the meal prep, sometimes even more, but my husband makes 1 to 3 dishes weekly as well, and it does make a difference. Good thing about buffet style meal prep is that you don't have to pre-portion meals into individual containers, so you can finish cooking your dishes, aka your building blocks, a bit later. And once you've given yourself enough time, the next pitfall is making all that food last. So number 2 very common problem is improper storage. This one I've heard over and over. I had to throw away half of the food, or the vegetables didn't taste great after freezing. I get you, no one likes wasting food. It's money, time and effort down the drain. Not to mention the guilt. That's why it's so important to know how to store your dishes properly. First things first, you need food containers. And if you're just starting, count at least 10. But to be honest, it's never enough. The best containers are glass, airtight, and in different sizes. And to keep maximum texture, hot dishes should be cooled completely to room temperature before storing them in the fridge or a freezer. Another super important thing is to know how long your meals can stay in the fridge. And the easiest way to remember is around 4 days in the fridge. And if you need them to stay longer, just freeze them. Freezing preserves maximum nutritional value and will taste good, especially if you choose freezer-friendly recipes. In my course, I give only freezer-friendly recipes and always note if something isn't suitable. But here are some basics. So, best foods to freeze would be mushy foods like soups, stews, soft vegetables, and cabbages. And don't freeze dairy, whole raw vegetables or fruit, eggs, and foods with crunchy textures. Now that your food stays fresh, let's make sure you've made just the right amount. So the third most common problem is miscalculating portions. This one has been my mistake for a long time. I would usually underestimate how much food we needed and end up finishing the week with last-minute meals, bigard, and takeout. But what I see with my clients is actually the opposite. Cooking too much food. That can also lead to food waste or overeating. So before you meal prep, answer these questions to make an estimate. First, how many meals do I actually need this week? 2. How many people am I cooking for? And 3. Do I have any meals already planned out, like lunch at work or dinner with friends? Now I do everything using our meal planner tool, and it's been very accurate. By the way, you can also access this tool. It's a part of my 4-week meal prep course where I guide you step by step to make meal prep work for you. And with time and storage and quantity under control, it's time to talk about the actual food you're prepping. Another common mistake is not having a plan or not having recipes at hand. You try to wing it. No list, no structure, and end up cooking in random order, forgetting ingredients, and maybe falling into the same old recipes. I always recommend having a list of recipes you want to cook at hand, and ideally having a cooking plan. Even if it's just an order in which you would like to cook your dishes, it will make a difference. For example, get veggies in the oven first, then cook your grains while they roast. Multitasking is a time saver, but only if it's done properly. So, good plan saves time, energy, and frustration. And making your recipe list truly nourishing will also make you feel better. Because in my addition, I always take into account 2 points: balance and variety. So for balance, I recommend imagining a balanced plate with vegetables, protein, and starch. And for variety, just pick multiple recipes for each food group. For example, proteins, pick 3-4 if you cook for a week, like tofu, salmon, chicken. Vegetables, again, 3-4 vegetable options like tomato salad, roasted zucchini, fennel, parmigiana, etc. And then 2-3 carbs, pasta, quinoa, potatoes, etc. And some recipes can overlap. They can already be a mix of 3 groups, like my favorite, leek salmon quiche. And finally, none of this will go smoothly if you start in the wrong place, like the grocery store. And the last one, shopping before planning. This is also a common mistake, cooking without a grocery list. But I put this mistake last on purpose, because the right order to do things is start with your recipe list and then make a grocery list from there. Otherwise, you head to the store with a vague idea and come back with random ingredients or forget half of what you actually need. Because we really don't want to be running back to the shop in the middle of meal prep or trying to improvise every single dish with whatever we have. So there you have it. 5 meal prep mistakes and how to fix them. You can also grab my free PDF checklist for your meal prep success. And remember, buffet-style meal prep isn't just easier, it's actually smarter. You prep mix and match ingredients to build nourishing plates based on what you actually feel like eating. Saves time, boosts variety, and helps you stay consistent. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to check out my meal prep course. And I'm very excited to share with you that I'm planning a summer edition in a group format for extra support and community, so you don't have to do it alone. Please comment below if you made any of these mistakes and maybe what extra challenges you're facing when meal prepping. This was Vera, not French dietitian. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!